All month long, TMJ4 has been honoring veterans and their families for their sacrifice and service.
Our Andrea Williams had an opportunity to sit down with a celebrated author to discuss his family legacy that helped change the course of history. Good morning.
Good morning, Tom and Andrea. I met Doug Melville while he was visiting Milwaukee for a special tribute to veterans at the War Memorial Center. We chatted about his book, Invisible Generals, and the historic figures behind those titles that he called family.
It's my first book, and it's my family story, and it's a story of America's first two black generals who were a father and a son.
The father was Benjamin O. Davis Sr., the first black general in the United States Army, and his son, Benjamin O. Davis Jr., who was the first black general in the U.S. Air Force and commander of the Tuskegee Airmen.
My dad, he was a judge. He was one of the first black judges in the state of Connecticut. He was a clerk for Thurgood Marshall, and he was raised by Ben Davis Jr., who was his uncle.
Doug decided to dig deeper after seeing an advanced screening of George Lucas's blockbuster film, Red Tails, a movie about the Tuskegee Airmen. That's when he realized the names and details of these heroes had been omitted.
When my dad started telling me this story, it was just hard for me to believe that this was in my house all these years, and I had never heard it.
In 1940, after 40 years of service, Ben Sr. became the first black general. The following year, advised President Roosevelt, where he recommended the creation of a pilot program for black Americans. That would become the Tuskegee Airmen, commanded by his son, Ben Jr., a West Point graduate.
So you had Benjamin Davis Jr., who went to West Point, who no one would even talk to him, but yet he still excelled, and still I rise.
And Ben Davis Jr. ended up being the first black graduate of West Point in the 20th century.
In 1954, he became the second black general and the first to reach the rank in the U.S. Air Force. His father was the lead advisor to President Truman on the desegregation of the U.S. military.
So what I've discovered was together they worked for 8 different presidents as the highest ranking Negro advisor to the administration. That's what they had called them at the time.
Their accomplishments didn't stop there. Under President Nixon in 1971, Ben Jr. became consultant for the U.S. Secretary of Transportation on airline security, today known as the TSA. Under President Carter in 1976, Ben Jr. worked as the special assistant to the Secretary of Transportation, leading the efforts of the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit.
They fought to be just Americans, not African Americans, not Black Americans, not Negro Americans.
In 1998, after 12 years of lobbying from Senator John McCain, Ben Davis Jr. got promoted to 4-star general from President Bill Clinton. And ironically, on the 4th of July, 2002, he joined his father, Ben Sr., at Arlington National Cemetery, linking them for eternity.
He did the work, and it's my job in my family tree to make sure I'm the amplifier of the work and I'm the person who puts the message out in the world.
It was such a pleasure meeting Doug Melville, and of course you can learn more about the amazing careers of Benjamin O. Davis Sr. and Jr. by visiting our website at tmj4.com, and you'll also find other stories celebrating our veterans there as well. Just an amazing family history, and for him to take on this journey to spread that history and make sure people remember was just awesome to hear.
He kind of said it in the piece of the story. He's been there, but nobody was telling it.
Yeah.
And so now he's told the whole thing.
He's telling it, and it matters.
An incredible legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic story.